And now, the Smart Aleck's Guide to American History proudly presents Historical Big Shots, making frowny faces. In the old days of cameras, it was not really a thing to do to smile for the camera. Only known picture of John Quincy Adams. Looks like he doesn't trust this camera contraption, not one little bit. And looking like he's still bitter about having the election stolen from him by John Quincy Adams. Andrew Jackson. The picture was taken towards the end of his life, but he could still probably kick my butt. Next up, President Buchanan, looking not so much like he's frowning as looking really guilty, like he got away with something, which is reasonable enough. Next up, President Johnson, the first guy to get impeached, looks like he wasn't too happy about that. This was probably the most racist president ever. He can frown away as far as I'm concerned. General Custer is probably frowning under there. Lip readers feared this guy's name, but Indians, not so much. Next up, Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison will show them. Yes, he'll show them all. Daniel Webster was a member of a group called the Triumvirate. They basically dominated the Senate, these three guys, for a whole generation in the mid-1800s. Another member was John Calhoun. This guy looked like he was in a Tim Burton movie or something, kind of going for the Beethoven look with his hair. He was actually one of the first Southerners to favor dropping out of the Union, though he'd been dead for like 10 years when they actually got around to it. Third member of the Triumvirate, Henry Clay. Now, he is actually not frowning in this picture. We just had to show it off. It kind of looks like they're making him smile using a couple of hooks and some fishing line. Moving along, the next guy up here is wearing his top hat and his cane, ready for a night on the town, but looking like he's not very happy about it. William Seward, Abe Lincoln's Secretary of State. Speaking of Abe Lincoln and the Civil War, this is General Sherman, one of the bitterest and harshest generals of all time. This guy was known for burning everything in sight. Southerners still hate this guy's guts to this day. He frowns in his pictures, but no military commander ever frowned for a picture quite like the next guy. Winfield Scott. Every picture we've ever seen of this guy, he's scowling like this. One of America's ablest military commanders of all time. This guy was a veteran of the War of 1812, was a commander during the Mexican-American War. He was actually a presidential candidate in 1852, though he wasn't elected. His nickname was Old Fuss and Feathers. We actually put him on the cover. Look at him scowl. Going back to the Founding Fathers, this is lonely old Chuck Carroll, Charles Carroll of Carrollton, the last member of the signers of the Declaration of Independence to die. By then he was estranged from his life, living in Maryland, and judging by the picture, so alone. And this Civil War veteran looks like he's still not one bit satisfied with the way the war turned out. Moving along, J.P. Morgan. Looks like he's practicing his lightsaber skills here. Any reporter tried to find out what J.P. Morgan was up to ended up getting it in the teeth. Senator Joe McCarthy looks like he went to the barber and said, "Make me look like Dracula. I want the Dracula look." Alright, the Smart Aleck's Guide to American History. We are not one of those awful books that tries to make Abe Lincoln look like a jerk by taking quotes out of context, but we don't mind making fun of people who frown in their photographs. Coming December from Random House.